All right, hey there, Sam with you. We're kind of late morning here on Thursday, April 19th, and next up per the polling amongst members is a request for Nano to Bitcoin. I have it up here. This is the 3 hour. Just give it a little perspective, 3 hour here on Binance. Now, before we dig in here, just for a quick review, I like to go over here. This is just a good reference you can always use to get a snapshot of this project. So here's Nano. It's a relatively new project, but look at this scoring here. I always suggest scores of 50 or higher. Here's 65 here, almost 80, 79, almost 80% here amongst developers. So very active project here. If we come down here, of course, the bulk of it is traded against Bitcoin and almost exclusively on Binance. So you can see all of this trading here. So good, pretty strong project. There's a lot of bullish bias for this, and this is a very strong coin to consider. So let's go over here and look at it technically. So if I come back here now, you look at that and say, so when is that? That's 2. So here's the ICO was February. So this is relatively, very new project here. So this last peak here is on February 24th, and then we start what appears to be a fairly technical set of retracements. So the last one that caught my eye is right here. So we can come, here's the 50. We come a little shy on that. There's probably one back here. Right, so here's the golden zone target, almost to the second target. So it's been technical on the way down, and it's just a process of going through these pivots and trying to identify where we are. So this here, likely a front run on that target. You can see here we went double tap the 50 twice, then ultimately come down. Here's our target. So let's go dial in over here for a second. Let's go down to the 1 hour, and we'll focus in over here. So all of this noise here, I really am just disregarding this because it's just, there is no structure, no pattern to it. What is that? We're down, we're up, we're down. Now, that said, every swing is, has some meaning here. So I can go from this low here up to this high. And you can see here we tap three tries at the 786, but really I wouldn't trade this as a 1-2. This is just junk. This is just no trend. We don't actually get any structure until we start coming off over here. So out of this we start to get some sense of structure. So it looks like we come out of this with a diagonal. So given that I have the potential here, so now look here. So I take this, and if it's tricky here when you're coming out of this, you have to just make some assumptions. So if I've got some sort of a choppy 1 here to give me some sort of a diagonal into a 1, I get a 2. Okay, if that's good. So 3. So potentially now I've got a 4 here. So I've got overlap. So it looks like potentially now I've got a diagonal. So given that I've got I'm proposed here that we've got a diagonal, I would go from this low back here up to my proposed 3 high. And you can see, it's a kind of a guess as to which one's the one. Is it here? Is it here? This one is more technical. So if we work this last drop here, so maybe I say it this way, it'd be easier for you to see it. So this last push down here into this junk, the last wick low before I get the proposed possible, right? See, it ain't pretty, but you could make a case that there's a 1-2 there. Then we get up to the 3. Well, here, now this is interesting. The 4 comes right into my golden zone. Yes, we overlap here, but look at this reaction. We get up, we get the algo target. Now we've had this little reaction. So you could make a fairly strong case here that we have a 1 wave in. Now we have more structure to this. So coming out of the slop, we get a decent 5 wave. We get a motive wave, right? It's a diagonal, but we have a motive wave nonetheless. So if that's the case, we can look at this and evaluate and say, well, somewhere down here there's a 0. I've got a proposed 1 wave in, potentially 3, 4, 5 going up higher. So we'll go up a degree. Look at that. Okay, so would that make sense? If this is a good 1 wave, no, I'm looking for 3 wave subdivision to bring me down here to my strike zone here, which is going to be in between the 50 and the 618. So here's our natural buy point here for a 2. We've got a proposed 1 that's in place on our 1 hour. So now we want to see this come down, and we want to see the kind of structure that we like to see to help us identify when we know that we're at a potential pivot zone here based on the pattern that we see unfolding here. So could be a double, nothing says we couldn't do that, could do a double bottom, A wave to the 38, very common, a push up to the 50, the 618 for the B, and then one more push down. So that's the textbook C, but remember, you know, in 2017 we had a lot of this. That was the pattern that we were getting on virtually every correction, an impatient market. So we don't know, could also have that, right? Since we went deep, so we have the potential for this to set up that. Either way, we'd still have that all targeting. We're looking for a reasonable place to get in. So we know we have the upside here. So as I've shown you many times, a good shorthand for your third target is the negative 100 off the algo poles. So if we get something like this, then you know we're playing ball for the big hit here, right? This is the third. The third is always the one you're trying to catch. Can I get that one? Right? If this plays that way, can I get positioned in here somewhere between the 50 and the 618 to get a run at that one, right? So that's my, as I've shown you before, if I work from this low, I'll tighten that up down here if that is my low. Right, so we get this zone up here. This is our wave 3 target. So we get that. You can see the 1618 and the negative 100 just on top of each other. Now this is hypothetical. We don't know what this looks like. For all we know, we could pivot at the 50. You just don't know. And I note what happens if we pivot at the 50. It brings this up a little bit. So we still get that target here at the negative 100. Just changes it slightly up above. So looking there, you know, I would say, you know, strong project. Coming out of the slop, we've got a decent potential one wave in. Now let's be patient here and not chase it. Let's not let any FOMO get the better of us. We've got a potential diagonal, which sets us up for the second wave. So we just be patient and we wait for that to set up and get the right risk reward parameters. So this is potentially the kind of two-step entry here. So half your position at the 50, the other half down here at the 618. If we go that low, stop on the other side, right? So you can see here's your wave 1 pivot that potentially you've got this, look at this whole strip right here of potential support. All of these wicks, all prior resistance, wick here at the 1, prior resistance potentially there to offer some support just ahead of the golden zone. So don't be surprised if you see that, but look for it in 3 waves. That's how we help identify. So, so for example, if you bought the 50 and you came down here, that's all that's really doing is setting up your A wave. Now, you can make money buying from the A wave into the B, but don't be surprised on the rollover, right? That's kind of what you're anticipating. But not that there's not a little trade here. That's, crazier things have happened in crypto, right? So you could get something like that. It could just bottom there and go because the algos, they're not waiting for 3 waves. They're just going to buy the 50 and there's their target. Now, if it keeps going, they will continue to buy right down to the 618. Target didn't move, but their entry just got a little better. So if you average the 2 down, you end up with an average price. You can be just below, I'd be just below there. So you get an average fill price here, splitting the difference between the 50 and the 618. Couldn't be better for you in terms of where to enter. So let's use that as our entry point. This is our target up here, right? What's that risk reward? Well, let's just for fun, let's measure it. So if you're in there at that average price, there's your wave 3 target. Stop is on the other side here. We can just go back. So there's 14.7 to 1. Worth waiting for? I'll let you draw your own conclusions, but that's why you're patient. That's why you don't chase. Let this do what it's going to do. Set up a 14 to 1. You do not need many of those to offset all of these little losers, that you are going to experience. You got to be positioned. You got to be there when you get the one that runs, right? That follows that Elliott count. Right? And this isn't going to go straight. There's going to be opportunities to add, take profit. That's not how the market works. It's not going to go straight up. So there's going to be opportunity along the way. As soon as we get this more established, of course, once we've got a good pivot here, we get a good, assuming that's our 1, we don't know, If we get a good pivot there, now I've got that with a modifier. Let's go to original. Right, you start building the roadmap. Right, so we look at that and we say, well, potentially now we've got something set up. Could be a golden corner pocket if this comes down a little bit lower. If we get down here to the C, we've got the potential for that golden corner pocket if this comes down to the 618. Right, we know we've got 80% odds of getting there. Do we get there here? Right, so that you can see how that could potentially play. You get your target, then that creates the first retrace for the 1-2 coming off of, because this is going to need 5 waves. Right? If this is 1-2, we need an impulsive wave structure to get us there. So to get up, you're going to need a 1-2. That's a chance to add. Right? Do we get a 3, and then do we get the 4? That's potentially another chance to add. And then do we get that last little kick up to give us our target? Right? That's how you use the market geometry and build a roadmap. Right now, we're just in wait. We got to wait. Got to wait and see what happens. Can't even draw the pitchfork yet. We don't have the third pivot. We just have a potential 1 wave. So we sit, we watch it, we alarm it, and we wait. A lot of trading is just waiting, sitting on your hands. Temptation, FOMO, it's always there. You got to know it's there, recognize it, say, hello, FOMO. You're not going to beat me today. All right, guys, that's it for now.